破綻しろ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 204 of the Saturn Studs podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my ragtag gaggle of co-hosts Peter and Jake.
We're looking extra ragtag this week because this week we're coming at you with the What's on Our Face edition of the podcast, where you at home, we've brought the studio experience to the home setting where you can play with your favorite studs, and you can also participate in this game. Guess what's on our face and win something? I don't know.
Yeah, the stream tonight might be upsetting to some of you. This is where the face cams are going to fucking come. Peter, you look a little bit like JR right now. You look a little...
I might have to get some
Jake's
some masks for this stuff. I want to get a scar so I can blend in with the guys.
Jake's gonna have the blade to fucking fit in.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I got one. I don't want it to be too hard. Just got the Book of Mormon in my eye.
Book of Mormon.
Yeah, just couldn't read it. This was on my doorstep. It's for an app.
Oh, good.
Oh, they've expanded into the technosphere.
Oh yeah. Today we're coming at you live from a small little town somewhere, and I don't care. There's a desert though, and the military's gonna come and they're gonna investigate some shit. And
they mentioned the state like
up.
9 times.
I don't remember because I didn't watch it. I didn't need to. I love this movie. I'm so happy you guys recommended it.
It's fucking Arizona.
That's fine.
Like the iced tea, because we watched Evolution. This is the second week in a row where one of us has recommended another like secret favorite movie.
Yeah.
Of another Saturn studs. Like last week it was Interstellar 5555, and now it's Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
So one of you two is gonna have to like fucking hit on something for me next week.
I think, based on what we've been talking about, I think we know what next week has got to be.
Beetleborgs?
Maybe. I won't rule it out yet.
I did have a recommendation for next week, and it was one of two things. It was either Tiger King, because I've been hearing
I saw the trailer for
that.
it, and I was excited to tell you guys there's a fucking documentary about Joe Exotic.
I know, and the last time I heard of Joe Exotic, it was some YouTuber, I want to say it was H3 Productions, who made a funny ass video about him because he's such a bizarre dude.
The last time I heard from him was when John Oliver covered his presidential campaign.
Maybe that's what it was. It was a YouTube thing of John Oliver doing it. But he's something else, man. Either that or
I almost watched that on a fucking impulse yesterday when I was done with Evolution and started playing the trailer, and I was like, oh, whoa, maybe, yeah, I don't fucking know.
Let's just go. Let's just go. I'm riding a high after that movie.
Grenadine Tarkovsky.
Grenadine Tarine.
Is his I think his Clone Wars are up on Netflix.
I'll have to look into that.
Maybe I can actually watch them all in like whatever the correct order is, because I never feel like I've seen all of it.
Yeah.
I've seen like 80% of it.
Yeah, like they did I think 20 initial episodes or something like that. But the original, they did it in like 2 waves. Like the first wave was like clearly experimental, and they were just like 5 to 8 minute sort of shorts, like those Pokemon Origins clips.
Mm-hmm.
And then it caught on. So like they commissioned, I think, 10 or maybe even 20 longer, like almost 20-minute episodes. And that's where you got into like the Asajj Ventress stuff and, teasing Anakin's fall and Mace Windu's first encounter with General Grievous. All the good stuff. General Grievous, just in general.
So many good moments. Yeah. Can we have that? I wish we could have had that General Grievous in the movie instead of the one we got.
Yeah.
These assholes.
Really fucking... I remember that in the theater, too, watching that movie, watching Revenge of the Sith and being like, that's not Grievous.
Oh, my master.
I'm Skeletor. I've got a bad cough.
He's coughing because then he got shot with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he got
got
fucked up.
his chest crushed by Mace Windu in the fucking animated series.
Was that or was it? Yeah,
It
maybe
was
it was
that.
that. Yeah, it was a crush.
Trust
Thought he
me, I
got-
remember this very vividly.
There was also another scene where I think he got like tagged by a laser blaster just running.
That's how he
into,
dies. He has like a heart for some reason, and
Well, he's-
Obi-Wan shoots him with a blaster, and it catches on fire, and he's like, "Ah!"
He used to be an alien, creature. He used to be this thing, and then through the power of the dark side, and Dooku bought him a bunch of PC parts, and he built himself a person.
Your kid.
SithJediPicker.com.
He
So
did.
we're
He like rebuilt himself like all crazy like that, but he's got a cool backstory.
we're stalling a little bit simply because as COVID mania continues to run wild across the nation, it does affect the amount of content we can cover on our podcast. This week, especially because for the first time ever in the history of the world, a Hollywood box office was $0.
Holy shit.
Holy shit!
My kiddos and biddos.
No, Phoenix, Oregon, had a limited release.
There's a Phoenix in Oregon?
No, Phoenix, Oregon is the name of the movie. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It had a limited release. It made $3,842.
That's got to be like from like a college campus that's locked down or something like that. That's the only explanation I will buy.
And then Lost in America
I
rolls
love
on up
how-
to number 2.
On Box Office Mojo, if you look at it, March 13th through 15th and March 20th through 22nd, they have COVID-19 pandemic under the
Yeah,
fucking-
they're all labeled. It's bizarre.
So yeah, if you go on Box Office Mojo, top 10 gross dash minus 100%, 2 releases. Yeah, Phoenix, Oregon, and Lost in America, bringing in a thunderous $38.42 and $78 respectively, in 17 and 1 theaters. What are these 17 theaters that are opening?
Close! Damn you, close! Maybe they're just like really not. Maybe they're psycho and they're like.
But what a
We're
fucking
gonna-
boon for the makers of Phoenix, Oregon. Like, this is a movie
That's
that
right.
they never could have dreamed would have been number 1 at the box office.
We will come out on top, my friends.
The fuck is this even? Yeah, Lost in
Two-
America up from 70.
2 longtime friends battle a midlife crisis by opening bowling alley / pizzeria combos in their small hometown. Wow, actually, I would watch that. Yeah, why not?
Well, let's check the reviews.
Isn't that just a fucking sure? Yeah, whatever. We'll do follow up first. Up is up, down is up, down is down, but right is left and left is right. So we're operating
doing.
under 50.
Let's
All
see
right,
if
We
anyone
know what we're doing.
has anyone reviewed this movie. Yes.
Yes, there are 55 user reviews on IMDb with a 6.9 out of 10. So let's take a look at the number 1 movie in America, shall we?
Wait. You have 55 reviews. I have 3. Can you send me your link?
Oh, did they not? They might not have written reviews. There might be 55 ratings. Yes,
Okay.
there are
Oh, yeah,
all
3
3.
reviews.
There are 3 user reviews. They're mostly
Well-
positive.
We each get one then.
All right, let's do it. I'll start at the top one, I guess. Funny and heartfelt movie worth watching. Got to catch Phoenix, Oregon when it screened in San Francisco recently. Oh, this is from July of last year.
Woo!
What a delightful movie. The acting is great. The storyline is heartfelt without being too sentimental. And there are a cast of unexpected characters that are funny and believable. Go see it in theater or catch it when it comes to Netflix. Exclamation mark. 1 out of 1 found it helpful. So all Allison 85588.
All right, now here's when the ratings plummet to 9 out of 10. Fun, funny, and a movie with message. It's a darn good movie.
Darn good.
Chase scenes or special effects, just good plot, great character actors, and an interesting setting. The movie offers a believable story, a message that's not trite, and more than a few good laughs along the way.
It
I
ain't
suspect
trite.
we will hear much more about this movie as it gets exposure, but go and see it as soon as you get a chance. That was from the 1st of July.
The monkey's paw just curls its finger inwards.
Oof. I guess you can't go see it.
And then, levels off. Gets, a little leveled with 9 out of 10. Great family movie by Danny Shane. Also in July of last year. My wife, 16-year-old son, and I very much enjoy the movie.
Why is he 80 with a 16-year-old son?
I like it.
Don't fucking judge. If the cannon still got ammo, I'm still firing.
Don't kink shame.
The genetic jackhammer.
The acting was very natural, leaving me feel as if I lived the story in the movie rather than just having watched it. Great job by everyone. The producers told me that the R rating was for the use of the F word one time. I don't even remember hearing it. Ha ha!
That's not. You can get one F-bomb with a
Yeah.
PG-13
The
rating.
SpongeBob. 1 out of 2 found this helpful.
You know what's amazing
if-
is that I actually think you nailed his portrayal pretty good because he cared about the use of the F word and the R rating. It was like I was quite shocked when I heard it.
Well,
was an
that's
R
because they
rating.
went with their 16-year-old son. He couldn't watch the movie on his
Oh
own.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was like, I'm afraid. I don't want them to be slapping boobies everywhere.
I don't want to
Like,
corrupt my youth. He's 16. He doesn't know what sex is yet.
How could he?
He's definitely not had sex. No one has sex.
He
at
was
that
just 16. He kept his motor clean.
I
My
didn't sign
Brian
his.
David impersonation.
I didn't sign his permission slip to take sex ed, so there's no way he knows about it.
age. How could he? All right, so that was your box office and follow up right
For
there.
your fucking top movie there. Rave reviews.
Rave review 6.9, 55. I want to read reviews of all the other people that brought it down to a 6.9. I had a 43 on Metacritic too. So,
Silent majority.
yeah, I want to see. Does it have Rotten Tomatoes? 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's read a couple professional reviews to round this out here.
We're talking about the man and his wife and his 16-year-old son isn't professional. The 80-year-old guy.
I thought it was a coming of middle-aged tale in a way. It's enjoyable and has warm, upbeat energy in its best moments. From Claudia Puig of Film Week, Michael Reichstaffen of the LA Times
He's a Nazi. Jeez.
said, given the film's needlessly protracted length and equally drawn-out pace, getting to that point is about as engaging as watching dough rise.
Rough.
Sure.
It's not one-dimensional, but Phoenix, Oregon is a flat and little like Bobby's blank face. Michael J. Casey, Michael J. Cinema. I wonder if they employ Michael J. Nelson. Dramatic.
Michael J. Nelson. I work in the Michael J. Cinema.
Warm tale and hopeful coming of middle-aged tale. John DeFore, Hollywood Reporter, top critic.
Hey,
All right,
that's what the other guy said, asshole.
Yeah, it's basically mixed bag.
Incestuous.
Mixed bag of reviews here. More positive than negative, but like one more positive than negative. So that's
But
what
it's
you
the
get.
only thing playing in America, so what do you want?
It's the only movie you can go and see. Oh shit.
Kurt just saw something flying at him.
Yeah.
He's got an aerial attacker in the house. We have a quick time event here.
rather large spider crawling on my monitor right there.
Oh Jesus!
That
kill it.
would do it.
Um,
If you don't, you'll end up like me.
Smite it.
I flicked it off. I don't know where it went to. I'll kill
Oh,
it later.
that's not good. He's definitely around.
Yeah, I'll kill it if it comes back. That's going to be a distraction for me.
It'll be on the edge of his mind, haunting him for the rest
We'll
of the
let you know if it
podcast.
starts crawling on your face or something. You can't feel it.
My eyes are on the ground right now. I'm scoping it out. Fucking trailers, I guess. Then, so, much like our box office, we've got 2.
Woo!
Oh yeah, it's good.
Tentatively scheduled for a May 22nd release. We'll see how that goes.
Because, guys, don't you know the president wants the disease to be over by Easter?
Yes, he wants it to be
I
an
have
Easter
heard that.
miracle. It'd be good for ratings.
Tell you what, I'll fucking start believing in God if this all clears up by Easter. I'll go to church.
Yeah, what the fuck's this?
Survive the
name?
Night.
Survive the Night.
Starring
Hard
Bruce
3.
Willis, Chad Michael Murray, and Lydia Hull.
Let that sink in, everyone. Just
Sink into your
Chad
Lydia
Michael
Hull?
Murray. No, Chad Michael Murray is back in a movie after 8 seasons of
One Tree,
what was it?
9 seasons of One Tree
One
Hill.
Tree Hill. Yeah, 9
An
seasons
appearance
of One
in
Tree Hill.
Freaky Friday, a starring role in what the fuck is this? I still have his IMDb open. A starring role in A Cinderella Story and in House of Wax.
Look, I just gotta say, everybody, for people who don't know, and maybe it's on my profile. I don't know. Chad Michael Murray did go to my high school. Now he went there like 8 or maybe 10 years before I was there, so I have no connection to him at all, other than he walked the same halls I did. But I was always compared to Chad
Jake,
Michael Murray.
what do you
They said,
mean? You had his locker. You had the same locker.
Oh, dude, that'd be awesome. And like the
Because
ghost is just,
Townsend and Murray are right next to each other in the alphabet.
they don't put. You choose your own.
Oh, you
pick it
didn't have
next to your
assigned
friends.
lockers?
Oh no.
Oh, we had assigned lockers alphabetically.
I think 1 year we did have assigned lockers because they said there was some fight when there was the picking day. It's like a couple kids got into a fight, so they're like, "No, we're taking it away for everybody."
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I think we just got ours like randomly. They're just like, here's
Yeah.
your number.
Well, they split us up into homerooms alphabetically, and then your locker was by your homeroom because theoretically that was convenient to you. But being having the last name Bennett and being at the beginning of the alphabet, my locker was always the furthest away from all my classes.
Yeah,
I do not miss lockers.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
We had a
I
trash
much prefer
locker.
having a desk.
Did you ever have a trash locker?
A trash locker? No, I
So,
can't say as though we have.
Me and a couple friends would always get there early before school because we were very studious.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
we
that's
just
it.
hang out with the old
You know,
wings out and just
Hanging
chill.
out under the bleachers, studying.
We'd play hacky sack in the hallways, and sometimes we would talk and tell stories of our nights. And one of the things that we did, we were too damn lazy to walk to the end of the hall to go to the trash for our breakfast. So we would just turn around and put it in the locker behind us. So at the end of the year, there was about 50 milk cartons
Oh,
that
God.
were just stacked up in this.
Oh, with
locker.
a little bit of milk in the bottom too. I'm sure that smelled
And there was
fantastic.
a bagel that we had slapped to the back of the wall because the peanut butter was bad.
You guys are.
I'm glad to know you were those kids.
You're
in
what's
high
wrong with
school.
America. You're the fucking
I didn't
animals
do it.
that are.
I would never do that. I would never put a bagel on the back of a locker. I'd force myself to eat it. That's a waste of food. Come on now. But my friend slapped it to the back of the locker, and 3 days later it slid down and left a peanut butter streak, and it was funny. We all laughed. and
Was
chuckled.
the image of Christ in that peanut butter streak?
No,
After
wish.
3 days, it rose again.
So
We felt really bad when we came in one day and it was all gone,
yeah,
which
the poor
only
custodian.
means like a janitor was probably brought in because of a smell.
Yeah, that would be it.
I think I've told this story before, but it's like the one not the one. There were several events, but the one non-drug bust related big event that happened in my tenure in high school. Someone took like this massive fucking shit in one of the stalls on one of the first floor bathrooms in our high school. And like the word spread throughout the school very quickly. And you had people who didn't even have to go to the bathroom coming in to look at this. And I, of course, was one of them. And it looked like someone had backed a fucking horse up into the stall and said, "Go, Bessie," and slapped it on the ass. Like this was a beyond an upper decker. This was like 6 inches above the fucking rim.
Oh my God.
And by the time I made my way down there, you know, like the hustlers had already set up tables selling fucking giant shit t-shirts.
Oh my God. We didn't have any of that. We just had a lot of poo writers. There were a lot of poo writers in my school.
What point do you have to get to in your life where you're like, yes, I will dip my hands in my own shit and write fucking messages on the wall of the bathroom?
We had a kid who shit all over the floor and the wall, and like it was a big thing. And he like closed down bathrooms for weeks. And he had to like sign into bathrooms from there on out. It was crazy. It was a big time. He's actually pretty successful now. He's an engineer at Northrop Grumman.
I haven't. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay, no, it's
all right.
he's actually doing pretty well. He was like one of those. He was one of those like problem childs because like he was too smart for the content. So as a way to distract himself, he had to like
he would
act out
shit on the
He'd
walls.
play with his
and
shit.
on the wall. Yeah, he would like act out because he was too smart. So I think that's what happened.
A clear sign of intelligence, fucking playing with feces.
I really think Pete, you should just cut that.
That, yeah, well, you touching it right now makes me worried it's going to fucking like burst and spray your camera.
I want to watch Dr. Pimple Popper now.
Go on, Ben.
I was so mad that someone made a show called Dr. Pimple Popper MD. Like, you made a whole show by stealing a line from Seinfeld.
Well, they made a show by stealing some fucking internet phenomena. Like, that shit was big on the webs.
Well, I think that's her job.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
a
she's a
dermatologist.
dermatologist. And that was a joke in an episode of Seinfeld. Jerry was dating a dermatologist, and she was all like, "I save lives." And he's like, he called her Dr. Pimple Popper MD at one point.
That's funny. Yeah, she just puts up some good content. That's for sure. Just busting cysts, and we're like, ew. How do you get to that point? Gross.
Boston makes me feel good.
Dude, so anyway, Survive the Night. We were actually attempting to talk about a trailer here. Chad Michael Murray, Bruce Willis in a movie about and this is what I think it's about. My understanding is that a doctor is being sued for malpractice, and a criminal's brother needs surgery, so they invade his home and abduct tie up his wife, child, and father who lives with them and force them to operate. But he needs Bruce Willis's hands, and Bruce Willis is like, "I think I'm John McClane still," and then they're like, "We need to take over the situation." So it's a home invasion movie, like a lot of other home invasion movies you've seen before, I'm sure, except it stars Bruce Willis and Chad Michael Murray, which is unique to it.
Yes.
I really feel like it's a sequel to like Die Hard.
Oh, it's Die Hard 7, of course. You ever watch
I
Die
know
Hard
it's
3 on TV? It's exhausting.
Die Hard delivers. Die Hard 7, Die Hard delivers. I don't know.
Die Hard
It's
delivers.
not, it's
Yes,
not
the
delivery,
fucking-
it's Die Hard.
So, Die Hard 7, Die Hard delivers. Which is a better film concept? Like, which treatment would you approve if you were a studio? John McClane has to fight terrorists on his way to delivering a pizza, or John McClane has to fight terrorists in order to deliver a baby?
I like babies. People like babies. People like pizza. And there's no pizza babies.
Or,
But-
you combine the two. He has to fight terrorists to deliver a pizza to a hospital where he then has to deliver a baby.
I think we got a thing here.
We did it,
think we-
boys.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
I think we just
Blum-
made
Blumhouse. Clear yourself out. Give us a call.
Clear your fucking schedule. You got nothing better to do right now. Take our
We
calls.
Yeah.
I honestly think that some of these ideas we've pitched on the show could make money, and Blumhouse should call us.
Oh yeah.
We'll develop a treatment, and then
Especially
you'll
after
give it to your
some of
screen.
this shit that gets put out.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's no way that Duck Duck Goose is any worse than the fucking Hunt.
Yeah. Look at Cats. That got greenlit. Come on.
Duck Duck Goose would have destroyed Cats at the box office.
Oh, yeah. And we'd get real ducks and geese.
Yeah.
We'd make sure of it. No animated duck or geese will be in my movie.
That would be like that would be the unique musical sting that our horror movie would have. It'd be like, yeah. It'd be like it'd have like the violence, like the squat. Except Danny DeVito would be the duck. He goes
Yeah.
squat,
We'd have to have that
Yeah,
for sure.
non-negotiable.
duck, goose. That's Bernie. That's my Bernie Gander.
The Canada
Bernie
Gooses.
Ganders. There
We
you
have to
go.
lock down the borders. The Canada Gooses are coming over. They're stealing our geese.
I will make sure that we have hunters on the border.
We need to make
Sniping
sure
the
that
geese.
American geese can get the same health care that the Canadian geese are getting.
They're flying down, they're migrating south, and they're rubbing it in our face. And they're scaring away all the ducks I feed at the park.
I like to go to my summer home in Vermont, and I like to feed the ducks, but the Canada Gooses, they come in and they scare the ducks off, so I am putting a travel ban on all gooses from Canada.
So it's Bernie Ganders versus Donald Trumpeter Swan.
Fox
Yes.
News. This crazy man is putting a travel ban on geese. That's terrible. Let them come in.
All
All
right.
the media rages about it.
And then we have a trailer for the Willow Bees. Willow
Isn't-
Buys.
Isn't it so quaint? What a quirky movie. It's in less than 24 frames a second. Watches this
Sure feels
quirky
that
family gets a quirky babysitter, and then the quirky cops come and quirky adventures ensue. Quirky. Look at our color palette and our gang vocals in the fucking background. Whoa, suck my dick. This movie's not gonna make any money.
Well, it's already
what I
made
think of
money
this.
because
God damn
Coming
it.
to Netflix.
Netflix
God damn
made
it.
it.
God damn it.
So, I don't really know what it's about. I know the parents abandon their children.
And they're raised by this fucking whimsical nanny type person.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's like Nanny McPhee.
I guess, or Mary
Either Nanny
Poppins.
McPhee or Mary Poppins. But they put a weird twist on it when child services come and they're like, we need to protect these kids. Like,
Yeah,
but they portray child services as like
the bad guys.
the bad guy FBI who's trying to take away your fun.
Would
And really, they're just trying to make sure you have a meal and a
Yeah.
warm house to sleep in.
Get you a space
Like,
blanket.
they're not bad.
yeah, I
We all
don't know if
know.
that's the right message to send to children that child services are not here to help you.
Hey, if child services shows up to your house, you run away
Right?
from them.
Join that fun nanny that you always hang out with. She's the good guy here because she sings.
She never touches people inappropriately ever. All right, so let me read to you some of the people they fucking got for this. Will Forte, Maya Rudolph, Alessia Cara, Terry Crews, Martin Short, Jane Krakowski, and Ricky Gervais.
They're just all in quarantine. They all just had to send in their shit. This was made in like 2 weeks, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Fucking Jane
You're like-
Krakowski kind of surprises me. Well, I mean, they all surprise me. Why would any of them sign on to this?
They just went to fucking Full Sail and they're like, all right, kids, instead of your final, make one fucking art asset for this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because Maya Rudolph is the hormone monstress in Big Mouth, and now
Yeah.
she's the nanny in this, and I'm like, I don't know how to feel. 1 second you're talking about vaginas and bubble baths, and like
Bubble bath.
now you're talking about taking care of kids. Pick a lane.
Well, Maya Rudolph has been in a lot of shit. She was on SNL for like 8 years.
Pick a lane, Maya. With your she's the
Remember,
beauty mark,
she
right?
was in the Lego Movie Part 2, and she made a joke about how stepping on a Lego hurts as much as giving birth to a child. Remember that
Oh.
great movie?
I remember laughing so hard when that meme came up, and they're like, it's such a dumb joke.
That movie that, totally got what made the first Lego movie good and definitely was able to repeat it.
Yep. Totally.
All right,
Bad
well,
movies.
now we're just like fucking, I don't know what to do anymore because we already did the follow-up. And we're done with trailers.
Well,
I don't know, we'll
move
go
on to
into our-
gaming. We'll just-
I guess we'll talk about gaming news. We're a half hour in. We've never done a Trae Watch like less than 45 minutes. So this is like uncharted territory.
It's hard. Those didn't even give us that kind of material to like riff off.
Yeah,
of
there
each
wasn't
other.
a lot to make fun of there. I mean, well, there's a lot to make fun of, but like not like good jokes. You know what I mean?
Ha ha
Yeah.
ha! 24 frames per second.
Ha ha.
So I think one of the cool things in gaming news has been all the reviews and stuff for Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, Half-Life
um,
Alyx is out.
Yeah, I've been watching some gameplay of it, and it's pretty neat. So Half-Life Alyx is out. It's the third installment of the Half-Life series, but it's a prequel, not Half-Life 3. So
Well, it's like
it gets around living up to the hype of Half-Life.
It's the
3.
fifth installment. Well, like the sixth. So there's Half-Life, Half-Life Blue Shift, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and now Half-Life Alyx. So it's the sixth.
That's cutting corners. Anyways, it's not Half-Life 3. Don't call it Half-Life 3, but it's interesting. So the cool part about this game is that it's solely VR, which could be a bad thing for some cases because if you don't have a VR system, you can't really play this game.
No, unfortunately.
And
Well,
but it's not. So it's not a good game, from what I've heard from some people who aren't like big Half-Life fans.
Right.
Who people who just play this game. They don't play Half-Life 2. They're like the storyline, the plot, and the characters are not crazy good. Like there's nothing to write home about. They're decent. They did a good job with it, but there's nothing. The whole experience, I guess, is a VR
Yeah,
where
I
they
mean, I
nail
think
it on the head.
Half-Life gained a lot of its popularity because it came out in an era where games with that sort of narrative, like focus on the narrative like that, were very uncommon, and none of them had been done as well as Half-Life had been done. So it got a reputation from that. But if you go back and you play Half-Life 1 and 2 now, they age okay. Well, I mean, like from a gameplay perspective, Half-Life 1 aged very poorly. Like there's platforming in the first-person shooter. That's just why.
bad time.
Difficult platforming too. Half-Life 2 mechanically ages a lot better, but like from the storyline, you're like, yeah, this is okay, I guess. It's not like it doesn't blow your mind like fucking BioShock 1 blew my mind in 2007 or Mass
think it's just
Effect blew my mind in 2009 when I played it for the first time.
From other fans of it, I've heard that they just like the universe that it's in.
Oh,
I
it's
think
an
they made a
interesting
really
universe.
cool-
Like,
They made a really interesting universe, but the storyline, there's a little bit to be.
like I can go
Bizarre
back
there.
and I can like, look at stuff that, like from like a point in my life where I'm like, oh yeah, this was really good, and like go back and be like, yeah, maybe this didn't hold up very well. Like BioShock Infinite is a game like that for me, where like when I first played it, I'm like, oh my god, the story is so good, it's so fucking deep, it really makes you think, and then you think more and more about it, and you're like, yeah, it actually wasn't that good, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And
BioShock Infinite just got fucking boosted to the heavens by the hype machine.
It did. It did. Get
I
hyped
remember
up.
the hype around that game was fucking insane.
it was a good game. I will say that. I let there be no mistake about that. It was a good game, but the thing about it is like it was really sold to you on the story, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that ending, man!" And then
But it was just a convoluted ending. It's like what's that movie? The fucking with the top at the end that they're spinning.
oh, Inception.
Inception. They're like, oh, it's such a
Kinda.
good movie, but it's just a confusing ending.
Well, the whole thing,
Makes you
like,
think.
and what makes me kind of sour on it is notion. It was kind of like very much like the Matrix sequels, where a central plot point was determinism, where like nothing matters because everything's already been determined how it's going to happen. Because like when you at the end, when you're like you see all those different like parallel universes, and like Booker and Copstock, I think, are the same person. They're just like from different eras. If something else different went wrong, and you're like, okay, so nothing I did in this entire game accomplished anything. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like the ending of Interstellar.
But the Burial at Sea DLC, very good. Return to Rapture with the improved graphics engine and mechanics.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did put that out. That was cool. So Half-Life Alyx, the whole main selling point around this is really supposed to be a console seller for Steam, for their new Steam index.
They want to sell that index, baby.
And I mean, from what I heard, it's the index looks great. It functions very smoothly.
Yes, it is.
Not a whole lot of issues to it.
It is the premium VR
issue,
experience.
The one issue I've heard about it, which is so weird, is that it's causing a lot of motion sickness to people who usually don't get motion sick on VR. In fact, I watched the Angry Joe show review, and all three of them, they had all three of the people on that show play Half-Life Alyx first on the index. They had roaring reviews about it. They loved it. They had a lot of fun with it, but after about 45 minutes, they had to stop because they would get so nauseous. And then after, they all would switch over to the, what is it? I'm blanking on the name. The other VR headset.
There are a lot of them. The Vive?
Not the Vive.
The Rift? The Quest?
Yeah, the Oculus Rift. Yeah, the Oculus Rift S. Which I think the newest Oculus Rift version, they swapped it over to that, and they were fine. They could play for hours and hours. So I don't know if it's something about like the depth of field or the refresh rate that the index is just too good. It's a weird concept where like the fact that it's too good is causing people to get sick. And
yeah, it probably needs an adjustment period. I suspect if like they played on the index more regularly, then that would go away with time.
I'm hoping, because I don't know. It's just like, but man, I don't know if that's a good thing.
I've heard that the real like strong point from the index is the controllers are really good, and I'm curious to whether or not you can use the index controllers. I'm pretty sure they're sold separately. I'm curious if you can use the controllers with other headsets if they're compatible. Because
I think they sell a lot of their components separate, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you could like buy the fucking base station separately, so I'm sure you can buy the fucking controller separately too.
Yeah, because that's where the cool stuff has been with like it will detect all your different finger movements, and you can poke buttons and all that jazz. And they really did a lot of, I guess, mechanic changes between other VR games where they just made like the simple act of picking something up an enjoyable experience, and putting it into your bag. They really streamlined a lot of things, and the gunplay has been surprisingly good for that game.
I've also,
so it's interesting to see where VR is headed.
Yeah, it is. I'm still not 100% convinced that VR is like the de facto future of gaming. But this is the first AAA VR title, and it is pretty impressive, especially with the amount of like detail put into the world. Like everything, you can interact with everything in the fucking game.
Yeah. Like the one thing I was disappointed at was you couldn't type on the calculator, but hell, I mean, but you can write with markers. You can open up every single drawer, and there's stuff in it. You pick up like trash that's on the ground. You can catch things from enemies as well.
Yeah,
there's just so much.
It's certainly an impressive feat, and I guess we know what Valve has been working on for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems like they put a lot of time into it because the environment's so detailed.
Yeah. All right, so after declaring war on Steam, Epic is now challenging publishers and has begun publishing its own games. And aims to have the most developer-friendly terms in the industry. So Epic, once again, attempting to expand its portfolio under the guise of being good for the developers. I'm not a game developer. I don't really know if that's true or not, but I do know that a lot of developers are getting bigger cuts from having their stuff on the Epic Game Store, so that's at least nice. Epic is now a multi-platform publisher, announcing the new Epic Games publishing label today, just as it did when it revealed it was squeezing into digital storefront business. It's promising to do things a bit differently in ways that look extremely appealing to developers. Under the new label, it's already planning to release games from the developers behind The Last Guardian, Limbo, and Control. Remedy has already worked with Epic, as Control is exclusive to the store at least until August, but as the publisher is going to be responsible for a lot more than just the distribution. According to Epic, it will be covering up to 100% of the development costs, including salaries, QA, localization, and marketing. But developers won't have to give up ownership of the games or creative control in the bargain. As for the profit split, developers will get at least 50% after Epic has recouped costs. Okay, so it's a threshold thing. So if Epic fronts the money for the development cost, they release the game, presumably on the Epic Game storefront. And then once the game breaks even in sales, it's a 50-50 split between Epic and the developer. But, again, 100% of development costs, including salaries, QA, localization, and marketing. That's fucking...
It's a lot.
That's big. Like, that's basically, okay, developer, don't worry about fucking overhead. Make a quality game, and if it sells well, then you'll make all your expenses are already paid, and if it sells well, you'll make more money on top of that. Everyone will get a nice fat bonus check at the end of the holiday.
You'll get one success story out of it and several little failures, but they'll only push the success.
Well, yeah, we shall see. Remedy is a very good publisher, so they'll be the first test. They also have Playdead and Yen-Gen Designs under the umbrella right now. So we will see what happens with some of these other games. If they can... I wonder what sort of contract situations there are with current exclusive partners. Like if Respawn Entertainment can shake loose from EA and start developing under the Epic Games publishing label. That'd be interesting. BioWare, please get away from fucking... the BioWare we knew and love is dead now. I'm convinced of that. Anthem killed it.
They got subsumed into the... They got too big for their fucking britches. They started spilling out the pockets.
Yeah.
Just dripping through their pant legs.
In sad news, Gearbox Software co-founder Landon Montgomery has passed away.
Rip.
Not related to the coronavirus.
Yeah, it seems like every death that I'm hearing about, I'm always like, oh shit, did they die? From the coronavirus? Oh my god. But usually they're not, they're just old.
No, he wasn't that old. He was in his 50s.
Ugh, boomer.
I'm sorry. No cause of death given, but from what I've heard, I think it would be bigger news if it was COVID related.
Yeah.
I think this is recent. Yeah, this is recent news. I don't know. I don't think it's gaming news, but it's voice actor Hiroshi Masuoka, who portrayed Master Roshi, not Yoshi, has died.
Master Yoshi.
On the 27th, he died.
And he's probably up there in years.
He was 83, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was corona related. But he is Asian, so I don't know.
Valve has provided some clarity on why we still don't have Half-Life 3, and the answer is pretty simple. They haven't made anything that they feel is worth calling Half-Life 3.
They're lying to you. They're just afraid of the number 3. They haven't made Dota 3. They haven't made Team Fortress 3.
Left 4 Dead
They
3.
haven't made Half-Life 3, Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, the jokes about Valve not being able to count to 3 are still alive and well.
Yeah, they just don't want a third game.
So their plan was, what they said here was that the development of Half-Life 2 took a lot longer than expected because they developed it alongside developing the source engine, and they didn't want to go through that again. So their plan was to release episodic installments one a year, but then they did 2, and then 13 years later they haven't made any follow-ups to the main game.
It's so bizarre that like one of the biggest games that they make, one of the most popular at least, I feel like, just they're dropping the ball on.
I really
releasing
think
content.
a lot of its popularity has been buoyed by the fact that there hasn't been a Half-Life 3 for this
I think so.
extended period of time.
It's a weird hype train to be on.
Like, at this point, you could never release Half-Life 3. You can't do
No.
it because there's no it could be literally the perfect game and still not live up to the hype.
Well, then that's their fault because they didn't release Half-Life 3 on time.
Like, it's
All we
just
wanted
become
the third
too
one.
big at this point. Like,
What I think they should do is just like skip 3 and just make a 4.
I think they should just release fucking like the most piss poor, like low effort game and call it Half-Life 3. Because it would sell a shit ton just on the name.
That would be really funny if they do a joke one where it's just like all janky and like glitchy, and they didn't put any polish into it. Particle engines everywhere, just fucking nothing's
Unity basic
textured.
game.
Fucking Unreal 4 engine. Fucking
You're walking around with like T-posing.
No,
all
that
the
would
characters
be
are
that would be
T-posing.
great. That would be so great if they fucking developed it on Unreal 4 and it was an Epic Game Store exclusive.
I'd love to see like an April Fool's Day Half-Life 3 come out. All the crab heads are T-posing. You can only buy it on Epic Game Store.
That would be fucking perfect.
Or like, what's the worst one? What's the worst? Uplay?
Yes,
Uplay exclusive.
Uplay exclusive.
You can only get it on Uplay.
Through no action of my own, my Uplay
$4.20.
bricked itself. My Uplay installation bricked itself, so I uninstalled it and never reinstalled it. I have
don't even know why
I have
I
a
have it.
few games that I like on my Uplay account, like Assassin's Creed 4 and Far
That's
Cry
what it
Blood
is.
Dragon, but I probably will never play them again because I don't want to fucking reinstall Uplay. I don't even remember my login for Uplay. All right.
Oh, okay. One more Half-Life thing. Valve is looking forward to mods to remove VR from Half-Life Alyx. So, hey, if you don't want to get a VR headset, maybe wait for a mod.
Valve. Pulling into Bethesda. Yeah, that's a cool feature. We'll let modders do it for us.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any fucking back end into this.
Like,
No sirree, Bob.
Bethesda's the fucking worst with that. And they're just like, yeah, we'll let the fucking community make bug fixes for our games.
Yeah, bug fix.
I remember when Skyrim on the PC came out and like the Erzbin voice glitch, where when you went to save the guy who was in the blades or whatever, his voice wouldn't trigger, and his voice, you needed to talk to him to like advance the plot, so you would be stuck effectively unless he used a console command or some other workaround, and just the fucking stupidest little thing that like was completely game breaking because Bethesda did not bug test any of their shit.
Amazing.
And
And they didn't. Yeah. Thanks, Bethesda.
So, and I guess this is movie related news, but I just saw this on my Verge thing. I forgot to mention. CBS All Access is currently offering a 1-month free trial, so you can binge all of Star Trek Picard if that's what you're into.
Oh, good.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention some news as well. Speaking of free shit that's out during this pandemic, stay home. watch porn, get Pornhub Premium for free.
1 week free
For 1
Pornhub
month.
Premium, or 1 month. Also, I think it's free for all Italian users for the foreseeable future. So if you have a VPN, you can be something of an Italian yourself. You can and just enjoy.
I'm somewhat of an Italian myself. Yeah.
That was my favorite.
So there might have been some people who already did that.
Yeah. I might do some investigation myself into that.
Hey, it's free. Pro tip, not from experience, obviously, but that will be flagged as spam. So for your confirmation email, check your spam folder. Because at first I thought they just didn't send it out because they were.
Oh,
having,
you thought? No, I thought this wasn't from firsthand experience.
Well, because there was a message on their website that said, sorry about the delay for sending out confirmation emails. We're getting a bit swamped here. And because there's so many people.
Why
who
is
get
it that
informed.
Pornhub is the most altruistic company in existence?
They are the best.
Like,
They really are.
Pornhub takes better care of its employees and its customers than any other company in the fucking world today. And it's really sad that Pornhub is a leader in that fucking field.
Well, I mean, pleasure is their number one concern. So it's like,
I'm mad,
better
but you
hit that
ain't
on all
wrong.
fronts.
Here's a list of speaking of free shit. Here's a list of games you can grab for free or at a deep discount right now. First off, we have Goat of Duty, which is currently $3 on Steam. It's a fast-paced multiplayer shooter where you're armed to the horns with lethal weapons. It's equal parts fun and goofy, offering its own charm in a genre that has a lot of games to choose from. You can also pick up Mini Metro. It's free on both the App Store and Google Play. The Stanley Parable is free on Epic Games.
Oh, actually,
Treasure.
anybody who wants a neat little thing.
Download it now and don't open it for 5 years.
Yeah, so you
get that
get
achievement.
that achievement. Treasure Adventure Game is available for free on Good Old Games. Capcom Mega Bundle is available on the Humble Bundle for as little as $1. You can go up to 20 and get Devil May Cry it's worth paying at least $11, which grants you a 50% discount to purchase Steam keys to Devil May Cry and Resident Evil 2 Remake. But I'm sure if you pay 20, you might get both of those. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the bundle. Investigate it yourself. Go to Humble Bundle. They're a great organization, even if they have been
I
bought
remember
out.
when they started. That was some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Buy a bunch of games for $6.
And it all goes to charity? What?
Wait,
What?
Destiny 2 is free?
Apparently Destiny 2 is free.
Or is there something where you have to buy the online or something like that?
I don't know. Are you looking on Epic Games?
I'm looking at Steam.
Oh.
Real quick, I'm seeing Destiny 2 as free to play.
Free to play. Oh, maybe it did go free to play, and it's like pay to win.
Oh, yeah, because there was a
All
lot.
I know is that people on Reddit just complain endlessly about it.
That's bizarre. Okay.
When did Destiny?
Also, Warzone's free to play. If you're all looking for something free to play, download Warzone. It's free to play.
Yeah.
If you want
But
to
is
be
it free to play?
It is actually free to play. However, they will remind you about 56 times that there's a battle pass that you can buy. You can say no thanks, but they'll ask you again in 5 minutes.
The Jack and Dexter bundle is available for $20 on the PlayStation Store. I'm pretty sure that's its regular price. I think I bought it for that 3 years ago. Life is Strange is now $3.99 at the Microsoft Store. Space Junkies is available for $4.99 on Steam. Sims 4 is available for $9.99 on the Microsoft Store. Dragon Quest III: The Seeds of Salvation is available for $9.99 on the Nintendo eShop. Resident Evil 3 Remake and Demo for and Project Resistance Open Beta are both available, or will be available on April 3rd. And Epic also has a few more free games out. All three of them together would normally run you $63. If any of these interest you, you can pick up World War Z for free right now. It was normally $35. Figment is now free, normally $20. And Tormentor Cross Punisher is free, normally $8. So lots of games out there for you to pass your time. Also, this week released on the 26th of March the new Borderlands 3 DLC, which we will be taking a look at tonight on the stream.
Yep.
Lovecrafty and lots of tentacles.
Hell yeah.
And well, speaking of tentacles, aliens have a lot of tentacles, and apparently we need to all arm ourselves with Head and Shoulders shampoo.
Head and Shoulders, and I want to talk about how they came up with Head and Shoulders as the thing, because I don't think that is chemically accurate.
No, I don't even think it's internally accurate to their logic in the movie.
No.
Well, they went down and to the right.
No. But, like, they were... So, we're talking about Evolution, the classic 2001 sci-fi comedy. Not a horror film, surprisingly. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, there were opportunities for it to be, too. It was kind of on edge a little bit, but then it was just the situations resolved themselves very...
Now, I thought that they were sulfur-based because they were talking about making a sulfur atmosphere because it smelled. It was stinky poo-poo. But then they said they were fucking nitrogen-based for no reason.
Out of nowhere,
like,
yeah. There was no establishment of that.
I thought they just couldn't breathe oxygen.
Well, in the beginning, yeah.
At first.
But they said something. Peter's right. They did say something about the atmosphere, but they
Sulfur.
never had any indication that it was nitrogen-based.
That was definitely a scene that got cut somewhere.
Yeah, like I was really confused. He's like, "Oh, we're carbon-based, and if you go down here, this is our poison, arsenic. These guys are nitrogen-based. You go over here to make the same move, and it's selenium." And I was like, "When did we establish they were nitrogen-based?" That's one of the issues I have with this movie is like they durdle a lot of it to like make a lot of jokes, but then they're like, oh shit, we have to resolve this plot, so let's just fucking have stuff happen really quickly here at the end.
Yeah, the second and third acts are kind of weird in this movie, but goddamn, I see why you love this movie, Jake. This for me was it reminds me, it's one of the rare movies that I would consider just a sit down and fucking watch it movie.
Yeah.
Like get on the couch, get out popcorn, and just watch this shit.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. The second and third acts were very rushed, and the first act was very long, but it was still enjoyable to watch.
Somehow Orlando Jones is the comic relief for a comedy.
Yeah. You had Stifler in here. You had Julianne Moore. You had Dan Aykroyd, who I'm not sure he knew he was in a movie.
Yeah, I'm sure they told him like it's about aliens, dude. It's about aliens and evolution and base pairs. And he's like, "Well, sign me up. I'd like to be in this movie."
It was funny, right? Right before he came on the screen, I was like, you know who would like Dan Aykroyd would fucking love this movie, and then he was in this movie. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot Dan Aykroyd was in this movie.
There's a lot of like Ty Burrell is in this movie.
I have only
Bill.
seen this movie.
Sarah Silverman's in
Yes,
this movie.
she is. Very
Ted Levine, who is Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
vivid
Somehow
departure.
in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, because my origins with this movie are kind of like in reverse order. Did you guys see this movie first, or did you see the animated series spinoff first?
I think I saw the movie first, and then I think I was flipping through channels one day and saw because I saw this movie young, I'm pretty sure. This came out in 2001. I'm pretty sure I saw this whenever it hit, TV shortly after, or we rented it from like Blockbuster or some shit.
Hollywood Video.
Yeah, makes sense. But then, yeah, I think I saw the cartoon just flipping through Saturday cartoons or something like that.
Yeah, so
Just
there
one
is
morning.
a cartoon called Alienators Evolution Continues. It ran for 25 episodes on Fox Kids between the spring or the summer of 2001 and winter of 2002. And that was my first exposure to this. I didn't even know there was a fucking movie until much later. And I think I saw the show when it aired in 2001. And then I think it wasn't until 2004 when I first saw this movie. Because one of my cousins had it on when I was over at their house.
Okay.
And so I don't have a strong recollection of the movie, which is why there were some fun surprises for me watching this.
I remember the only thing I remembered about this movie was like the last 10 minutes, because me as a child had a really fucking awful attention span. I was just like, I don't care about things. I'm just gonna go and do whatever while everyone's paying attention to this movie. That's the thing that we're doing this afternoon.
Yeah, this is a rough movie if you don't have a great attention span, because that first act is quite long and not a lot of action takes place during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I love the fucking banter. I love the characters.
Yeah.
Evolution is basically just life if like we were the astronauts instead of fucking dramatic McGee up there. Like, this is very similar to the plot of Life. Therefore, it slots into the Life Venom
universe
headcanon here. This was in the 90s, so it probably came a little after the 90s, so it came through with the Kree ship when Captain Marvel came back to Earth.
It was they shot it off the Kree ship.
There you go. See? Fucking
all right, so Evolution, we have Stifler out in the desert practicing to be a fireman. I thought he was going to just...
What a great opening seconds to your movie. Guy pulls up to a fucking shack with a blow-up doll.
Yeah.
It's a mannequin. Okay, it's not a blow-up doll. That really...
Drags it out of the car.
That really fucking bothered me. They kept calling it a blow-up doll. It's clearly a mannequin.
Fair enough. It does make squeaky sounds, though.
Or it was like an actual CPR dummy. I don't know. Maybe he got his hands on an actual CPR dummy.
Well, I mean, is that not technically a mannequin?
No, because they have functions. Mannequins don't have functions.
Is that like a rule of being a mannequin?
Well, mannequins are just fucking like plastic and foam and shit, whatever it is. But like CPR dummies have like the lungs that can inflate and other stuff, and they're oddly fleshy. But usually those are only the top portion. I don't know.
Okay.
That's not the important point. The fact is that he rips a body out of his car.
Yeah,
and
if I was
like,
just
oh
going to bury a
God,
body in the desert, and that was going to be the
serial
opening
killer?
fucking shot of the movie, I'm like...
As this opening theme plays, like, what is this? What a unique, like, main theme for your movie.
Yeah.
It's like Western, like, twangy guitar, and then like a silly jazz riff plays over it.
Yeah, so a meteor hits the shack and sends him and his car flying. And then we smash cut to the community college where Ira Kane, our main protagonist, is teaching biology, I think.
Mm-hmm. He just does not give a fuck.
Hold on. First of all, wouldn't a meteor that size like blow a hole into Arizona the size of Arizona?
No.
Wasn't it a huge?
Bad.
Wasn't it a huge asteroid?
It
or
wasn't
meteor?
that.
It was like 3 meters across or 3 meters long, which would cause quite a seismic event. Like everyone would see it.
Everyone was talking about there being a quake, and
that guy didn't die. So that guy somehow did not die from
because he was in the
being that
air.
close.
Right, like you're thinking of like the meteors that are like the size of houses that'll cause mile-wide craters, right?
I don't know. I'm not
Also,
a meteorologist.
This is a movie.
Yeah.
No, this is real life.
So it can be whatever the fuck the screenwriters need it to be. So Ira Kane does not give a shit, and he's giving everyone A's just for showing up, except for 2 students, brothers, who are party heads. They get C pluses because their fucking essay about cells was about their uncle in a jail cell, and they copied from each other. And it was the first joke of the movie.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I
unless you
guess
count
the fucking
the Wayne running out and being like, "I'll save you. Stay back. This is I'm saving lives out here."
Yeah.
I laughed at that.
Yeah, it was funny, I guess. So, and then
we
meet Orlando
Harry Block.
Jones's character, or Harry Block. I almost called him Orlando Jones again. Orlando Jones plays Orlando Jones. No, he plays Harry Block, who is a horny, possible pedophilic geologist.
Yeah.
That's another joke, right?
Yeah, they had a joke about child porn
This
in
movie
this movie.
was PG-13. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, wow, this movie was fucking PG-13. How
They
that
got away with
Yeah,
a
with
lot
a
because
lot of
it's I mean, it was all like subtext. It wasn't like, oh, there's child porn on this computer.
They even got 2 shits in there. They put in the same scene even.
Well, I think shit is one of those words you can use indiscriminately in PG-13. It used to be one F-bomb got you an R rating, but around like 2010 they relaxed that a little bit, and like you get one F-bomb in your PG-13.
Yeah.
But there was none of that. This was from the era where that would have gotten you an R rating. But there were plenty of blue jokes in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking sex jokes in here. Made me giggle like a little girl.
Harry Block's character is basically just a sex gremlin who happens to know a little bit about rocks.
His side hustle is knowing about rocks.
And coaching women's volleyball, but that has more to do with the sex gremlin, I think. I love how at the end of the movie they when they're congratulating him, they announce him as the winningest coach in Division 3 volleyball. Division 3 women's volleyball.
I like how that movie ends with fucking not spoilers. It's 19 years old. This movie fucking ends with Harry eating out the fucking his love interest.
No, Ira. It was Ira.
Yeah. Not Harry. Ira.
Ira just
Like he goes down, and then the fucking movie ends, and it cuts to a fucking Head and Shoulders commercial.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how you end your movie. Wow. Okay, boys.
Wait, this wasn't just a huge Head and Shoulders
It
commercial?
was a fucking. I mean, honestly, how much do you think Head and Shoulders paid for the product placement?
A lot of money.
Probably a fair amount. This was also that. I don't know. A lot of this screams 90s energy.
Well, it was 01.
Kind of,
it was 01 pre 9/11. The 90s were still alive and well.
Mm-hmm. People were just okay with a lot of shit. Like this was the same, and even the 2000s was the time when you had Simpsons Butterfinger commercials, where you had that collab.
Yeah.
No one better lay a finger on my Butterfinger, man.
I just looked up mannequin.
Thanks for that.
Okay, I googled the word mannequin, just to be a little facetious. Here's the definitions, but I'm bearing the lead by giving you the definitions here. A person who is very small, especially one not otherwise abnormal or deformed. A jointed model of the human body used in anatomy or as an artist's lay figure. But if you Google mannequin, you have a few products recommended to you. The first product is the Preston Family Pack, which has a few babies and some other mannequin CPR toys. The second one is Simulatus Obstructical Mannequin Replacement Vulva. That is the second product recommendation when you Google the word mannequin. There is a fucking vagina on my screen right now. Like fucking a kid. Any kid can fucking Google this shit. It's $32.50 if you're interested. I don't know if that's a good or bad price. I can't.
It reminds me of when you go into like one of the some of the skeezier adult shops, and they have like the models. It's like, this is totally Paris Hilton's ass. The plaster cast of her fucking bits. Totally, it's a giant fucking lump of silicone, and you're like, pretend you could be fucking Paris Hilton's ass.
Yeah.
And I imagine someone in bed with that, and they're just like, It's like the largest fleshlight ever.
You see a lot of those with like fleshlights and stuff. It's like, oh, it's cast from ex porn star's fucking vagina, and you're like, is it now? Did they like lay flat while you plaster form their fucking vagina? That sounds like a yeast infection waiting to happen.
Sounds like problems.
Now there's two spellings of mannequin.
Yes.
There's the one you had, and there's the mani quid.
Yeah, that's probably a little more. Oh, let's see. Yes, you do not vagina when you spell it with the Q.
Damn it.
But you do have recommended to you a 5'3" teenage girl mannequin and a realistic female mannequin. $187.99 and $247.99 respectively. So if you get your stimulus check, you can get yourself this little mannequin.
Get yourself stimulated on your stimulus check.
Question 1: why is there a prostate exam simulator for $1,000, and why is it $1,000?
Yeah, you have a finger. Every human being is equipped with a finger.
Everybody has a finger in a butthole.
Yeah.
I just need a carrot and a turntable. You can give the old sit on and spin experience.
So anyway, Ira and Harry show up to investigate this rock, and
Harry is decked out in full 90s cool gear.
yes,
I fucking love it.
they ride in their fucking red Jeep Wrangler. They show up to this rock. They take a sample of it by fucking just throwing a bunch of jargon at the goddamn police officer who's folksy. They let him take a sample of the rock, and they discover it's like bleeding. And when Ira looks under the microscope, he sees a bunch of single-cell organisms, and he runs it through a spectrophotometer, which reveals there's 10 base pairs in their DNA, which I don't think a spectrophotometer can do.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe.
I've never used it.
You take a lot of analysis. It wouldn't be able to pop that right out. But more concerning to me, like scientific accuracy. I knew that coming in. That's why I recommended this movie. I'm like, scientific accuracy is not one of their strong suits in this movie.
No.
What's more concerning to me is that somehow 10 base pairs implies that like they're going to evolve faster. When it really doesn't.
Yeah, I haven't taken a biology class in about a decade, so I don't remember how that works super well, but I don't think the number of base pairs has really much to do with the complexity of the
mutation rate on a fucking strand of DNA.
I mean, maybe it increases their metabolic rate, and that had something to do with how quickly they were able to, go through generations. They at least explain
how they just like randomly fucking grow out of nowhere. Like they take the oxygen or they take the atmosphere in. So I was like, fine, because like the blue spot on his fucking microscope slide just gets bigger and bigger. I'm like, that's not how a small microbiological population works. It's gonna hit a carrying capacity and it's gonna run out of energy. You fool.
Yeah. But it evolves rapidly, and they keep dividing. I think that has more to do with their evolution. It's the fact they divide a lot, but he was excited about the 10 base pairs because he's a biologist.
Sure.
So they divide rapidly, and then he goes to find Harry, who's coaching his women's volleyball team. And he leaves in the middle of the game to check out the single-cell organism. But when he looks in there, he sees multi-cell organisms, which he then informs Ira about.
Yep, and if you look at the table, if you look at the beaker on the table, it went from like this much to like this much.
Yeah.
It was filling up in the background, which I liked. That was a nice little detail.
There were some good, nice little movie details.
And then it ended up breaking the dish. Maybe not the petri dish, but the slides or something like that.
We just talked about that.
Yeah.
So they take the class on a field trip back to the site, and they discover that the stuff has already evolved into flatworms, which is a problem. Then the government shows up, and then Julianne Moore from the CDC is there, and I kind of chuckled at the fact that the fucking CDC is in this movie, given what's going on in the world right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And her character trait is so good. She's clumsy.
It's so weird for me because my first exposure to Julianne Moore was in 30 Rock, where she played a character with a thick Boston accent. So whenever I watch fucking The Big Lebowski or anything else Julianne Moore has been in, I not hearing the accent throws me off a lot. So she's in this movie.
Love you, Jake. Don't die over
I
there.
don't know why. I have something like stuck in my throat.
Ira, when they show up in the militaries, they're like, Ira's immediately almost shot by one of the fucking soldiers, and you're like, what's that all about? And then they keep implying that he did something to warrant like
a dark backstory, which again, this is the first thing for me. Well, not the first thing, but all of these scenes, these could have been horror movie scenes. But what they did for the whole movie was anytime there was a fucking scary thing, except for the end, they put like adventure music over it.
Yes. Like the big one is with the fucking dog thing with the ladies doing the mahjong. Like I was on edge a lot in this movie because I was expecting it to kind of like dip into horror comedy territory. You know, where it's like, oh yeah, these fucking people are going to get eaten, they're going to die. But like the only people who die in the movie are like a handful of nameless soldiers at the very end of the movie. They get crushed by the giant fucking thing. And we don't even know that they die for sure. We can assume that they die. But
yeah, like it, like there's like a dog with a fucking meat mouth, like a literal alien tongue thing
it's
that
got like a
comes out and
xenomorph
bites a
thing.
girl's hand, and they don't play any scary music over it. They play like uh-oh, she just got bitten by the weird dog thing.
Yeah, like the most horror thing in the movie is when the douchebag rich guy gets eaten by the fucking like alligator dog. When he like, you know, you can see his like fucking fingers dragging through the grass on the green.
I think now is the right time to start talking about the CGI too.
What's wrong with
it's
it?
you know, it's middling. I've seen CGI that's from movies that are older that's aged a lot better, like Terminator 2, Men in Black. But I've seen CGI from movies that are a lot newer that have aged worse. Like, I don't know, anything that came out between 2010 and 2012.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, DreamWorks. Yeah, this is a DreamWorks production.
Yeah, that
So
seems correct. Like a lot of the like asset style and like texture mapping is very similar to a lot of other DreamWorks stuff from this era.
I can see that. It's very video game style too. Something like especially when we get into like the dragon.
They did a decent job for the most part of not relying too heavily on CG. And like for like big moments where they had to interact with the aliens a lot. I'm particularly the one where Dan Aykroyd shows up in the primates. They evolve into primates. Like those were practical effects. They did not use CG for those, and I think that was a wise decision. And for the most part, people don't interact too much with the CG characters. With a couple of exceptions, when the shoplifter gets taken by the bird dragon thing, and at the very end. But
yeah,
I think the sphincter at least was a practical effect.
Yes, when he gets pulled in. Yeah, we'll just start talking about the rest of the movie. So like, just things start just getting out of control, spiraling upwards. They invade the military site at one point.
But
like,
I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the trial when Julianne Moore's character disposes Ira Kane, and they talk about Kane madness and how he developed the vaccine for arsenic. And it's like, and what did those soldiers get? Well, they didn't get arsenic. Anthrax. They didn't get anthrax. If that's what you're asking. But it gave him like the shits and stuff, and they call it Kane madness, and that's why he went from being a colonel in Army research to being a community college professor.
Perfect. He knows. It's a great contrast between him, who knows his shit and is like not proud of it, versus Harry Block, who just wants to play a big boy. And he's like, I'm on the USGS, so I can get all the jailbait I want.
All right. Take it away, Peter, if you're broad strokes recap.
So things starts getting out of control is they try and get back onto the military base to get some samples for themselves because the government cleaned them out. And it's a lot of like, again, you think it'd be like a tense scene, but they just sort of wander in, make some jokes, some banter. He's like fucking dancing in the elevator.
Talking about how he just needs to fuck Julianne more and she'll be nicer.
She needs a good humping. And then a fucking mosquito gets in his suit.
Somehow a mosquito gets in his suit, which shouldn't be.
And it doesn't alert anyone that there's like a pressure loss, which I feel like there would be a sensor on these things that said, "Oh, you just lost pressure in your suit." Or you'd be able
to hear it or feel it. Like if it's a pressurized sealed suit, the moment like there's a fucking opening, like all that air is going to rush out. So you'd be able to feel that. But for the purposes of comedy, a mosquito gets in and then it gets inside of him and they have to pull out through his butt and they make...
There's a big old fucking butt sex like implied scene here.
They make a joke about fucking how there's no time for lube. And he's like, there's always time for lube.
There's always
time for lubrication.
It's brought to you by KY.
KY Jelly. And they pay it back at the end, though, when he shoves the fucking Head and Shoulders hose up the sphincter. And he's like, it's payback time.
Without lube.
Without lube. Of course, the sphincter was several orders of magnitude wider than the hose, so I don't think it would have made much difference. He fit in there pretty easily without any lube. So.
Yeah. So they get into an argument with the government, and the government says, no, fuck you, get out of here. And Julianne Moore's like, well, I'm leaving too, because y'all aren't taking this seriously. And I somehow like Ira now.
Well, she always liked Ira, you could tell. She was giving him the big eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The fucking butt monster. Yo, does that remind you of anyone? Like, you're looking at giant alien ass. Thanks, Harry. Yeah, and so we start seeing animal attacks. They're in the water pipes, they're in the ponds,
Wayne discovers like one at the fish stage of evolution in the like thing for the pool, and he like just ignores it. And then like this alligator dog thing eats one of the country club patrons, and that's really like the only person who's like dies from one of these attacks. You have
were there any deaths in when the friggin' dragon things attacked the mall?
No.
They took one girl and they saved her, and they shot the dragon thing.
Because they're all fucking strapped. They're all just like, we know how to use a shotgun.
There was a shotgun store in the
It's a
mall.
sporting goods store.
He's like,
no,
he's like
specifically so shotguns.
What does he say? He's like,
Wayne's like, do you know how to use these? He's like, just because I'm a school teacher doesn't mean I'm a pussy.
Just such a great moment that's just you just would not see that today, where just your three lighthearted bantery characters just all know how to use firearms, and they just like, let's get strapped up and just
it's
shoot
fucking
the fucker.
Arizona. Everyone knows how to use a gun in Arizona.
Because you can just go out to the desert and just shoot in any direction.
It's pretty much. It's like that's a PE unit for Arizona public schools. Fucking shooting.
Skeet shooting. So they fire on it, and like I like that Ira was the one who got the shot because he presumably has some military training in firearms. I would like to think.
Yeah, they all have to go for basic training,
and they all fucking double tap it, which I liked. I was just happy. That was a fun moment. I was like, yeah.
Pre-Zombieland double tap. Well, it did kind of like stir, and then they shot it again. And like it's dead now. So yeah, and then you have I think the most intense scene that could have like really gone into horror was with the dog, with the mahjong ladies, where it like fucking has a xenomorph thing come out of its mouth, which is like, what fucking mutation? Like, what adaptation for survival? Like, they just kind of made these things like weird and grotesque in a lot of ways. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. How would that help them survive in this atmosphere?
Like the fucking caterpillar with two butts?
Exactly.
Or two faces. Like a cat dog thing.
Yeah, but like these ladies
cat dog or
are
pillar?
approaching this thing very cautiously, and then like it bites one on the hand, but like doesn't like even lose the hand. It's just like they're bleeding a little bit, and then they go to shoot it, but it dies because it can't breathe. And then Dan Aykroyd shows up, and they explain the situation to him, and then they get attacked by the primates, and he's like, I don't care what you gotta do, just do it. And the general is going to drop a bunch of napalm on them. But back at the lab, they discover that they fucking grow faster when they're exposed to fire, conveniently.
Due to a poorly thrown match.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to find out any other way.
Yeah. Well, that's not a test.
I liked it. That's fine.
I think heating it would have been one of the first tests, you know? Like, that would be one of the first battery of tests I would have run. I mean, I'm no biologist. I'm a chemist by trade, so I like to see what happens when things get heat up.
Throw it in a microwave.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, that's where they fucking discover selenium as their poison. And
because they go down into the right. Because I mean, like
that's not how.
That's so dumb. Because like
works.
it's like, okay, well, if you go down into the left for arsenic is to carbon based life forms. Like there are plenty other chemicals
that are
on
toxic
the
to
periodic table
carbon.
of elements that are toxic to carbon based life forms.
Like arsenic is just bad for us. Like it's not our kryptonite.
Yeah.
There's arsenic in
like,
water.
there's arsenic in quite a few things. That would be very alarming for you to know that there's arsenic in, so I won't divulge them at this moment. But yeah, like gallium arsenide is in a lot of stuff. It's just a fact of life.
Gas?
Gas. Nope.
Gas. I love that question.
Gas. Will live on forever, and I'm so proud of my legacy.
And it was on the test, which was the best.
That's my fucking legacy, and Alfred is just making a joke out of all this very hard science stuff. But yeah, so selenium, and they're like, how are we going to get 200 gallons of selenium at 2 a.m? And then like fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledummer come in, and they're like, well, Head and Shoulders, the main active ingredient is selenium something or another.
Sulfide, which weirdly makes sense if they breathe in a sulfur environment, like it'll bond, presumably.
And they're like, how do you know this? Like, how do you think our hair is so shiny and flake free?
Yeah, but how are they going to get that's another thing. How do they get 500 gallons of that stuff, though? They just hit up every CVS, or is there
Well, you go to a
factory in
Walmart
town?
and you, like, clear them out. It's 20, every bottle is, like, what, 20 ounces, 24 ounces? And then you have, like, the bigger bottles, which are 48. So, you know, you figure you can get a couple gallons or a couple, like, maybe 20 to 25 gallons per store you hit. So
There's 128 fluid ounces in 1
Yes.
gallon. Make that 500.
And then divide
by like 36, we'll say, for the average size of a bottle of Head and Shoulders.
Here, no, I gotcha. I did the actual math. You only need 3,500 bottles of
That's
Head and
doable.
Shoulders.
That's very doable.
Yeah,
All right.
and that looks like about the size of the fucking pile they
Yeah.
got there.
So they get a pass
They
on this
fell
one.
ass backwards into being accurate there. Yeah.
They fill up a fire truck full of Head and Shoulders, but they don't immediately go to fucking kill them. They like go down to investigate, and then they drop the napalm, and somehow they don't die from this.
Well, I think their plan was to just spray the stone. And if they spray the stone, that'll stop it. In their mind, I guess.
But it's already spread out. Whatever. The napalm came in and then like just became a giant version of the single cell organism from the beginning with a butthole.
Rule of the squared cube law just thrown out the window here. Does not explode under its own weight.
Yeah. So this is like terrorizing. They're shooting it. It crushes some soldiers. Really, only people who die in this movie. And presumably, we don't know that they're dead. But then they drive the fire truck towards so all the fucking army jeeps are going one way and the fire truck's going the other way. And Dan Aykroyd's like, "What the fuck's that fire truck doing out there?" But they shoved.
Because they have no idea about the plan. Because the general didn't even take their call when they were trying to tell him not to napalm.
Yeah.
it.
So they shove the hose up its ass and they start spraying and Harry gets sucked up a little bit and they pull him back out. As far as a climax goes, this was fairly anticlimactic. They just kind of did the thing they thought they were going to do, and there was very little
And it worked.
obstacles in opposition to that.
Yeah. There's a butthole.
Yeah,
That
they
was
made
the
they made some
obstacle.
butthole jokes, and then the thing exploded, and they were lauded as heroes. And Ira went to go fuck Julianne Moore, and
Then a
Head and Shoulders commercial. And then I saw a preview for Tiger King, which was enticing.
Yeah, I think that might be my next show that I watched. Unless I really want to watch Ozark. Because Ozark Season 3 is out as well, too.
Jason Bateman is a drug dealer. Oh my God. Was it with you,
And,
Jake? No, it wasn't with you. It was with my my stepbrothers. We were looking on Netflix, and it had Arrested Development and Ozark right next to each other in a recommendation list. And like the thumbnail for Arrested Development was Jason Bateman with like a perplexed look on his face, but like a upbeat look. And then the Ozark was him with like a very like solemn look on his face. And it's like the two modes of Jason Bateman.
Goofy and funny and drug dealer.
Fucking.
Drug launderer.
They should have just had him. They should do like a Breaking Bad where he like slowly descends into the lifestyle, and like just by the end of the series, he looks like his character from Dodgeball, just with the neck tattoo and the spiky hair.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, that was Evolution. It is a very watchable movie.
Eminently
It is
watchable.
not too long. It's I think probably just 90 minutes or maybe a handful of minutes over that. But
Maybe
it's
100.
certainly less than 2 hours, so it's nice to sit down and watch. If you have some time in an afternoon, just knock this out if you're interested.
This is like the definition of fucking TV movie
It really
on
is.
a Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some good laughs.
There's some good jokes.
Neat story.
It's an interesting
And good characters.
interesting story. The characters work very well with each other. Well cast. Writing was all right. But the actual, like the way they shot the movie, like from a technical perspective, it's a pretty well put together movie. And they had the wisdom not to lean too heavily on CGI, which was good.
Yeah. Good thinking. DreamWorks.
All right, so yeah, that was Evolution, and this has been this is week 2 of Corona shortened episodes of the Saturn Studs podcast. We're probably going to bring in about an hour 40 here. But please come to the stream tonight. We'll be taking a look at some more tentacle-based monsters in the new Lovecraftian themed DLC for Borderlands 3. We're all level 55 right now, so we should probably hit that new level cap, I would imagine, by the end of the...
Get a couple dings for the
get some
audience
dings.
here. I like dinging in front of a crowd.
Dings. Yeah, I love a good ding when I have an audience. I'm a bit of an exhibition.
I like dinging
I'm
with
a
my
bit of
buddies.
an exhibitionist in that way. All right, so yeah, that's going to be happening tonight around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch and Mixer. /Saturn Studs on both of them. You can find links to those on our website, SaturnStuds.com, as well as links to our social media at StudsSaturn on Twitter, Facebook.com/SaturnStuds. Also, YouTube channel, which is going to be... I haven't uploaded anything to the YouTube channel in a while because I'm kind of rethinking the strategy here. I think we're going to just use it as we were using it as just a stream archive channel. So, like, we'll have, the parts of the old streams go up, like, in regular intervals on the channel. Be a bit of a delay, so, like, there's an incentive to watch live. But those will go up, I think, 3 days a week. We'll upload streams and work through our backlog of content. But it's just become needlessly tedious to part these out. And YouTube remembers how much you've watched, so you can just watch for however long you want and click off and then watch again. So don't feel I need to be doing all this editing and rendering and compressing and uploading and titling and shit. Just less work for me, less chance of getting burned out, and I've been feeling a little burnt out lately, which I'm trying to avoid. So that's going to be the direction moving forward with that. And other than that, I think that's everything we need to plug, unless you guys have something.
No.
All right. Well,
Nope.
Yeah. Plug in washing your hands, everybody, and social distancing.
social distancing, all that stuff. We'll get through this. I don't know when everything will be back to normal, but eventually things will be back to normal.
Oh yeah.
So just be patient and, stay safe. So until next time, being well and staying safe and partying like it's 1995 is all we can do to make it through this. So,
Yep. Enjoy. Have fun. And peace.
Bye bye.